Just a little bit of sleepy music to get started, Thomas. Considering
That's definitely sleepy.
Some insomnia racing coming up tonight at Flemington in Australia. We know everybody's kind of focused on the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland, but we figure you're going to be pretty wired after watching all these races and won't be able to sleep sitting in your bed. I don't know, what movie was it when the guy's like laying in the bed full of money? That's what everybody's envisioning tonight with their Breeders' Cup picks.
Well, I hope so.
Indeed. Me too, but everything's digital nowadays, so I guess you're just going to be rolling around with your
iPhone. Throw digital Bitcoin on you, I guess. I don't know.
Something along those lines. Well, hopefully you're throwing a lot of money on you. But today we're going to do Flemington down in Australia. Tell us a little bit about that track, Thomas.
No, we just ran the Melbourne Cup there for 2 miles. It's got a long straightaway and a nice sloping turn and round track. And they do go counterclockwise. And we've got a couple interesting races, to say the least, here.
Indeed. And
this is Champions Day. This is the part of the spring carnival. And there's some, I mean, there are a couple races here that I could pick any horse and probably be right.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty deep fields in here. Just a little heads up, and we'll link to it over at horseracingtoday.net. We'll put the free past performances like we always do, but just a heads up. These in the U.S., it is Australia B for this evening into tomorrow morning. So again, we'll link to that over at the recap at horseracingtoday.net in just a little bit. All right, Tom, the first race we're going to do, well, a little bit more house cleaning before we get cracking on that. The track is rated good 4. So that means the footing should be firm, wouldn't you say, Tom?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. This is probably one of the better tracks it's been for a while, too. So and mainly we've been sitting at the soft 7s and those kind of tracks, and it's not been exactly ideal for some horses, but a lot of them want a little give, and they've definitely had more than a little give for a big part of the time.
So this first one coming up is a 2,000-meter race, and as we like to do, we show a little bit what the track looks like, where they're going to start. Looks like they're going to make a little bit more than one full. Well, they're going to go this way, right? No, they're going to go this way, right?
Yeah, you start up in the on the turn right there,
and then they're going to go this way, yes,
and they're going to go around. Yeah, it's counterclockwise, not clockwise.
And come back down this way, boom. So there you go, almost one full trip around the track. Should be a very interesting race. Looks like a big sweeping turn there, kind of a tight turn at the end, Tom. So when you're hitting that last turn, do you want to hit that close to the rail? You want to be a little bit outside? Is there an advantage?
When they hit that, they'll fan out pretty widely in the field. It's really going to matter of position, and this is not a huge field size wise. We've only got 12. So unlike there was 22 in the Melbourne Cup when they hit that turn, so it's quite a difference. But it'll be interesting to see position wise what will happen, because there's 3 speed horses here, and then the other one.
You must have been reading my mind, Tom. So here you see the speed map. All this stuff is available at racenet.com.au. Some great resources over there. It gives you an idea of how they see the race when it starts. Here's the settling position as they move along, kind of get a sense. And it goes kind of like this, if I remember correctly. And then finally, you're going to get your closing speed. Which horses have the most run at the end? It looks like a pretty even race to me, according to this map anyway, of which horses have the most late punch. So I'd probably want to focus on the horses that have a little tactical advantage early on.
And in the handicapping too, I don't know about you, but for me, as I said, I could make a case for a bunch of these horses. I mean, I only could get rid of really 4 that I could honestly say I didn't think I had a chance. And then went from there. And with that, I took number 2, Polly Gray, as my top choice. First start of the season, she set the pace. It was the favorite and backed up to finish 4th. She likes this distance. She's got 3 wins from 4 starts in 4 placings from 11 starts. She wins generally on the softer going. So this may not be 100% of what she likes, but we'll see. She's an 8-year-old, and I think she could easily go wire to wire in this group. I only see 2 other horses potentially breaking with her, and she's done it before, so why not again? The 8 Dynasties is my next choice. 3 starts this season. The best race really was the last race. It was an enlisted race at Flemington. Ran mid-pack in that race and then came on for a 4th. First start was a 10th at Rosehill and then a 5th at Caulfield. She's won on just about every kind of going. So really, I don't think that's going to be an issue. And since I'm looking for her to hit the board, I think may get an okay price on this one. With that, my final choice will be number 7, Foxy Frida. Has raced 3 times this season, ran 4th in every race. So I'm hoping that it'll improve. And
just one spot. You're not asking for a lot.
And the reason I'm picking her is they're changing equipment. They're taking the blinkers off. They're putting winkers on, which are the more subtle type of blinker. It doesn't help to have the outside barrier, but in this case, it may help the horse having an outside barrier. And she prefers the good going. So this seems to be right up her alley. And I think she's competitive against this, can be competitive against this bunch. Ran 4th. She's done okay, but just not gotten there.
Yeah, she's got a trio of 4ths in a row. And actually, that's where I'm going to start too, Tom, because as I was reviewing the track, the picks and all that sort of stuff, all of the information, I saw that it was a good track. I was like, oh, that's surprising. And then the first thing I want to see is how the horses have done. First, I want to see if they're improving and then how they've done on the surface, because it does seem to me with these turf horses that some like firmer footing, some like a little softer footing. And most of the favorites in here really don't like firm footing. So I kind of had like a Tom day today with my picks. I'm starting off at number 7, Foxy Frida, as you mentioned. This is a horse that's been really consistent, Tom, in terms of finishing 4th. So it's got to move a big way up. But
it's getting a check.
It is getting a check. But what I like about this horse is that it has run at the Flemington Park 5 times with 3 wins. So clearly it's a fan of the track, so it likes the footing. On a good surface, 11 times, 3 wins and 4 seconds or placings, as Tom calls them. So I do think you're going to see this horse. I don't know to me necessarily that I would pick any one of these to win. Maybe this is kind of a good like exacta or trifecta box type thing. My next horse for me here is number 10. That is Taugarangi from New Zealand. And we'll see. This is a real Tom horse here at 41-1. But you see, anytime a track has been wet, the horse is 0 for 7. You put him on a good track, he's in the money 6-9. It's another one that has done okay at the track, 1 race at it, and actually won that race. Been at the distance 2 times, has a win and a second. So likes the footing, likes the track, likes the distance. 41-1, Tom. I think that one should be in your picks, not mine.
Well, my top pick in the Melbourne Cup ran 3rd. She went off at 41-1.
Coincidence. A little bit of that. What was that old show called?
Well, I was happy I got my money back. So
what was that show called?
But I got my money back.
I can't remember the name of the show in the 80s where they were like mysteries and stuff. I forget, all conspiracy stuff. But anyway, Steinman is my 3rd choice, the 6 horse. This is another horse that if you look, it's on the improve. It went from 14th to 5th last time out. The only time the horse has done really anything is on a good track. 7 times, 3 wins, nothing else. So this is your proverbial all or nothing horse. I'm expecting a good effort out of this horse today, as it's only put good works on that good track and is improving. If you look at those times, they improved along with the positioning. So the form seems to be coming to it. And then again, my final choice here is number 11. Thought-provoking, 101-1, Tom. What in the hell is going on today? I don't know. But in any case, thought-provoking is thought-provoking at 100-1, I'd say for sure. Again, this guy's run on a good track. He's done it 5 times, 2 wins and 2 seconds. And it's another one that's improving. So improving, likes the track and likes the distance, likes the surface, and he's facing a field of horses that, quite frankly, a lot of them don't like a good surface. So if there's a day that 100-1 is going to come in for me, That is the day, Tom. And I know when this race is going off, if it comes in, it's going to go ding, 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 ding. Rich had that one.
Yeah, well, if nothing else, if it can get that second place, that makes for a nice exacta.
And I think that race, quite frankly, because like I said, when you look through the favorites, a lot of them really don't like that footing. So I wouldn't be I wouldn't be
They've only
shocked.
done average on the footing. There's only a couple that when you look across it that have consistently run on any surface, any type of going, versus some of the others. We've never done any all-weather races from Australia, but of course they're not as like other places. They're not considered the top of the racing category. But even those races, you got to kind of take a gander at, because a lot of times they're using them like they do in England as a prep for something else. And so, yeah, they run fifth in all weather. Well, they're not looking to win. They're looking to get some conditioning out of that horse. Win is a nice bonus, but not what they're looking for.
I should note that first race 5 that we talked about, will start at 12:10 p.m. or a.m. Eastern. So 12:10 8 Eastern this morning. I'm always get confused by that. They're a day ahead of us stuff. I saw a guy who's saying he travels from Australia to like Los Angeles, and he says he picks up a day when he goes from Australia to LA, but then he loses like a day and a half when he goes back the other way. So what if you just keep going backwards time zones? Do you get younger? That'd be interesting.
I would hope so, but
philosophical.
Unfortunately, it would only be in the philosophical realm.
Race number 6 is our next. Race number 6 on the card. It is the Darley Champions Sprint. Darley's Champion Sprint is 1,200 meters, which I think equates to what, 6 furlongs over here. So what we would call
that's 6 furlong. It is a 6 furlong race. It's straight away.
Also, they're going to start back here and run down the straightaway. There you go. And there's the finish line. So they're just going to go straight on that one. Any particular advantage to be inside, outside, Tom, from your experience?
Generally speaking, the middle to inside. If the track is playing favorably on there, you want to be on the far side. But then, of course, I've seen them win from the grandstand side too, but not as frequently.
So let me ask you, if you're watching the races early and there's these longer races and they're coming out of that turn, can you pick up any clues about where the winner comes from in terms of its track positioning? So if it's from the middle, from the outside, from the inside?
I think you can on some of those earlier races when you're because you're part of it is, of course, positioning where they break from, but part of it is where's the best going on the track. We talk about biases on a dirt track. Keeneland for a while was famous for having an inside bias, and if you sat in the front on the inside, you usually won. And that went on for a while until they leveled out the track a little better. And that's only recently, really. Now with this kind of a track, and the way it's of course been playing, I think you got to sit in an area towards the mid of the track. That seems to be where the winners when they come off that turn come from.
From the middle.
Straightaway is a whole different ball game, is my mind.
But I thought
maybe you got to find the best running, and if you're a horse that needs cover, then you got to get into that position where you can get your best running and best kick to finish.
Well, let's see. The last race we saw, this Nature Strip versus Giga Kick. Giga Kick did have the late kick, ran him by everybody at the end. Tom and I had him, paid really nicely. Not going to pay as much today. So we get a rematch between the undefeated Giga Kick and Nature Strip. And this one's going to go off at approximately 12:50 a.m. Eastern time. So now we're really getting into the East Coast insomnia racing. Tom, if we look at the speed map, according to the speed map, we'll see that front page, Rothfire, the astrologist, and Nature Strip should be the horses that are on the front as the race develops, or at least get started. As they settle in, this kind of gives you an idea of what they're looking at here. So in the front, it should be Rothfire, Nature Strip, and then you got these folks behind them. I think they got this backwards, in my opinion. And then finally, on the way home, it looks like, well, it really doesn't. It looks like a Levante, that 12 horse, and a lofty strike could make some noise as the race comes to a close. When it comes to a close, Tom, who's your winner?
My winner is going to be Giga Kick, number 14. Won the Everest last time out and absolutely flying at the end. And still undefeated. Always like that. And last time was the first time it ran a 6 furlong race. I also like the jockey angle on this one, the jockey trainer combo. They've got 7 starts and 4 wins. So they're clicking along very nicely.
They should team up more often.
Yeah. And well, I think it just ran a fabulous race last time out. I think it's very capable of repeating that effort. I did take 12. Levante is my next choice.
Ooh.
She's only had 2 barrier trials, so she's coming off those, and it's going to be interesting because, to me, she's 3 for 3 first up. Now, granted, those were in New Zealand and not in Australia, and definitely different racing. But when she moved from New Zealand to Australia, her first race, she ran 4th in a Group 1 sprint. So I think she's more than capable. And if she's ready, a little bit of a price, we hope. Finally, I'm going to take 6 Front Page as my final choice. It won the Kosciuszko, which is the big race that's on Everest Day. It's the other race, so to speak. It's one where you buy a spot into the starting gate. But along the way, it's run some listed races. It's done in open races, so it's been improving all along. And really, that one, is a good one. I mean, ran one bad race this season. It was at Flemington. It made a huge move up, and then dropped to get to 3rd, and then it dropped off and ended up 12th.
Thanks for the show, Sid. I drive Friday.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just reading some of this stuff here. It says, thanks for the show, guys. I drive Friday and Saturday nights lift. So between my pickups, I may be spending some time earnings on the night, some down under tracks. All right, good luck with that. And Julie,
enjoy.
I'm not sure what that means, but if you can explain that a little bit to us, Julie, and I'll be more than glad to answer if we do.
Yeah. Last time Front Page went off at 6-1. I think the odds will be bigger. It
looks like he's 41-1 right now. Yeah,
much more competitive field, but this is one that's definitely in form.
Well, I'm gonna start with the 12 horse, Tom. I do think that Nature Strip and Giga Kick are gonna get back at it again. Nature Strip should be improved, second start off a layoff. So I'm gonna put those guys second and third. Let them battle it out.
The thing with Nature Strip in the last race that it ran in the Everest, in my mind, when it was in the Everest, it didn't have cover. And this is a horse that likes to tuck in a little bit and get some cover. And if you go back, watch the Royal Ascot race at 5 furlongs, that's exactly what happened. And then it kicked on and then blew them away. I just think Giga Kick is really at the top of his game, and he's just a 3-year-old, so he's only got more upside if he can continue along this.
Yeah, like the announcer said when he won that last race, you don't know what you have until he gets beat.
Yeah,
and he has not been beaten yet. So, but I'm going to go for a little bit of price. I expect that Giga Kick and Nature Strip, they're going to take most of the money. People are going to see that as the duel there. The only different pick I have than you, I have Front Page as my 3rd choice as well. But I'm going to go with Levante. The horse has run very well on a good track, and as you mentioned, Tom, the horse has done nothing but win after a little bit of time off. 3 for 3 on the first start after a layoff. And then, of course, at the distance, the horse has tried it 5 times, 2 wins, a second, and a third. So 4 out of 5 in the money, likes the distance, likes to come off the track and run fresh. It's going to run fresh today, and I believe has a shot to upset both of these horses. So they're not focused on anybody else. They're overlooking the competition, as they say. Next up, in between lift rides tonight for a little bit of action, suspend your earnings on your phone while you're waiting for the next ride to come in, is race number 7. This is the Kennedy Champions Mile, 1,600 meters on the main track, Tom. Let's take a look at the 1,600 meter mark on this and get an idea of where they're going to run from. We're going to start up here in this little chute, it looks like back here. Come around that big sweeping turn, like if they're at Belmont Park, and then come back down here to the finish line. yeah, with that big sweeping turn, I don't think where you start really makes that big of a difference in terms of making it through that turn. Tom, am I wrong?
The outside's a bit of a disadvantage. It wouldn't be my first choice. And I try to pick horses that are a little more on the inside, where their barriers are in the inside rather than the outside.
All right. So in race number 7, Tom, what do you like here?
I took 3. Cascadian is my top choice. Won his last 2 races, coming from mid-pack in the fields. These were Group 2 and Group 3 races, and they were at longer distances than this race. But it does have a good record, sitting at 1,600 meters, which it ran 18 times in its career, has 3 wins and 4 placings. Definitely in form, and off the 2 race wins, and it's kind of hard for me to pass on that. And even with a little bit of drop in distance, I think that's only to the favor of this horse. Last time out, number 2, Private Eye, ran second to Gigakick. Very impressive. And then it came back. 2 times starts back, because it started in between there, and it started at Rose Hill at 1,300 meters and won that race. So quick turnaround again for this horse. But boy, it's
got to strike while the horse is hot.
Yeah, that's what Alan Jenkins used to say. You don't put the horse away. You run them when they're very good. They're in form. You run them. And this is really what they're doing. And I mean, it's doing an excellent job, and it likes the distance. It likes the going. He's won on everything. And there's no reason to say that he can't kick home on top. And my final choice is going to be Tuval. Tuval. This is a speed horse. It won last time out at this distance. But last time it sat a little bit back. It sat 3rd, and then came on to win. The last 12 months, this horse has not been out of the money in 8th races. So it's kind of hard for me to not include something like that in a race like this.
Yeah, it's the kind of horse you say that's paying the barn bills, as you like to say.
Yep.
Well, this one starts at 1:30 a.m. Eastern. And you mentioned, and I forgot to do this because sometimes the old brain doesn't work, but the speed map on the way out does look like Tuvalu has got a pretty good advantage over everybody except maybe Mr. Alligator Blood. You got to love that name, Alligator Blood. As they settle in up in the front, it doesn't look like anybody really is what you would call a true front runner. Looks more like guys that would prefer to be co-pilot that now are going to be forced into the pilot position. And then on the way home, the closing speed again looks like looks a race to me. It's pretty even on the way home. You got Cascadian, My Oberon, and Private Eye probably competing aggressively down the stretch to see who has the most late kick to get into the winner's circle, or maybe just collect a showing check. I'm going to start off at number 2. Private Eye, Tom, is my top choice in here. Unlike the other races, the first race where a lot of the favorites didn't like the good surface, I felt like in this race, a lot of the favorites did like the good surface and a lot of the long shots didn't. So unfortunately, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, if we get it right, it's fortunately. If I get it wrong, it's unfortunately. But I think this one's going to go kind of true to form. I like the 2-horse Private Eye. That's my first choice. Again, looking for horses that are improving. This horse, I can't say that it's improving, but I can't say that because he's done nothing but run great races, as you said, Tom. But what I like is on the good surface, he's got 6 wins in 12 tries. So 50% of the time, he's a winner on a good surface, and you're definitely going to get better than 1-to-1 odds. My next choice is number 8, as we saw, the one that's likely to be the pace setter, Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a horse that is also one that has favored the good surface, and he's been at this distance 4 times, managed to win a pair of them, and came in second a third time. 2 wins, 2 seconds, excuse me. But it's also making its 3rd start off of a layoff, I mean, basketball. But the horse has only done that twice before, and guess what?
Yeah, won
them both. Next on my list is number 9, My Oberon. I think that's one we saw that would be also part of the closing rush at the end. This guy's making his 2nd start off of a layoff, and it's not been as good as others, but the horse has hit the board 6 out of 10 on a good track, and at the distance, it seems to be its preferred distance because it's run it 11 times with 5 wins, 2 seconds, and 2/3. So quick math says that's 9 out of 11. I think this is the proverbial Tom horse, at least as far as I'm concerned. Is he going to win? Maybe, but in the money, I think you have to have this one in your picks because of that record at the distance. And then finally, if as I mentioned, you got to have great names in your picks too. And to me, the best name in this race is absolutely Alligator Blood. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you're a Killers fan and you like Mr. Brightside instead. But I'm going to go with Alligator Blood. Again, a horse that's just been right in the mix constantly. It seems like it does all of its good work on a good track, 18 times with 10 wins. It's been at the track and run at the distance 2 times and won one of them and came in second in the other. So that's why I like the horses I like. Our next stop at Flemington is race number 8, Tom. This one is the VRC. This is the Dyslexics VCR Champion Stakes. Once 2,000 meters once again. If we take a look at 2,000 meters, we're going to start here again, go all the way around the track and come back. So pay attention to that first race we talked about because you're going to get a good sense of what the bias might look like. But when the gates open, according to the speed map, we're going to see Zaki get off to this looks like a pretty sizable lead by itself. As they settle in, you might have some company from Elliptical. Hinged will be right behind. Looks like most of these horses really want to probably close, not really be too close to the front. So if these guys up front can get away with a pretty good fractions, nice and comfortable, they could have a good shot, carry that speed to the end. And then finally, it looks like it's going to be a mad stampede to the finish line. So a lot of these horses have very similar late pace. All right, Tom. So as that mad stampede hits the finish line, what order is it going to be?
Well, it was really hard for me to pass on the favorite, and that's Anamore. 3 starts this season, 3 wins in Group 1 races, and at 3 different tracks. It wins on all types of surfaces. So anything type of going, it doesn't seem to be an issue for this horse. Likes to sit a little close to the pace. It'll be tucked in behind there, and if it does what it's been doing, it got up by a head last time out, or neck, get to I'm Thunderstruck, and really was impressive in that move. My next choice is going to be number 3, Mo Yuga. Ran 5th at Monami Valley last time out with issues. And the comment was interesting to me was that the last 200 meters that this horse ran was the fastest of all the horses in that race. So it picked it up after some problems. On the past 6 races, it's running the money 4 out of 6 times. I just think the distance definitely suits. I think a better trip means better results. And then finally, I'm going to take number 8, Hinged, my last choice. This is a first start season when he ran 5th in open company at Rose Hill. He's won a Group 1 in the past from 9 starts in Group 1s, but he's finished in the money 5 times in Group 1s. So, that stat caught my eye. The other thing is coming off a second start. This horse has 4 races, 3 wins, and a placing. So, can he beat Anamore? No. Can he finish in the money? Yep.
Well, I hope you're wrong, Tom, because I hope he can beat Anamore, because I put him on top of Anamore specifically because of that second off record and the fact that this horse does like to run on good turf. So if he's going to do it, this is going to be the race. He's going to do it. So he gets to that third leg up. His record kind of inverts a little bit there. And as you did mention, the horse does have a pretty good record in the high quality races. So let's see if he can pull off the upset. I do like Anamore as my second choice. It does look like it's going to be the betting favorite, 2-1. Everybody else is next closest is 4-1 at the I'm Thunderstruck, which happens to be my third pick. So this is kind of like the Australian heavy metal band or 80s rock band, because you have I know that the song is Animal, but when they sing it from Def Leppard, it sounds like Animo. And then you got I'm Thunderstruck, which is an AC/DC song, right? Thunderstruck. So this is the 80s hair stakes is what it should be. I like I'm Thunderstruck as well. as my third choice for this race that's going to go off at approximately 2:10 a.m. Eastern. Keep an eye on that. But this is a horse that consistently runs very well. Seems to me it's on the improve, made a huge move late in its last race. So we'll see if it can do that again. The horse has done okay on the good track. Finally, my final choice for this race is number 11, Mr. Maestro. Yeah, let's come back down here to number 11, Mr. Maestro, 21-1. So Rich is really sticking around in Tom's neighborhood with these high odd horses tonight. Hopefully they prove to come through, at least in the back end of those exactas and stuff. There's a horse, again, that's done okay at the track, ran out at one time, and it won. At the distance one time. It's run at the track 3 times and won 2 of those. And again, the horse that's done all of its good work on a good track, 5 times out, 2 wins, and a third. If you look at a soft track, 3 times out, 1 win. Heavy track, 2 times out, 1 win. Wet, 5 times out, 2 wins. So this is a horse too that tends to get better the more it runs. Like you can see, the first up, second up, third up, it starts to find its groove. So this horse should be deep into its groove right now, and hopefully Mr. Maestro can become a big part of the exacta trifecta picture. Maybe even steal one at the end of the race. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Our final race at Flemington tonight for Insomnia Racing. After you're sitting there counting up all of your Breeders' Cup cash, this one starts at 2:50 a.m. Eastern. Tom, it is the Grand Handicap. The Grand Handicap is a 1,100 meter race, so that's a little bit shorter. Was that about 5.5 furlongs? Would be about right. And then if we look at the 1,100 meters, they're going to start right approximately here and then just drag race down this front stretch, see which one's the quickest to the wire. And let's take a look at what they say in terms of that early pace, because that might dictate who wins this race, Tom. Does speed hold up here?
Good.
So Najim Suhail looks like it's going to have the most early speed. We follow closely by, not too closely, by Snapper and Hypothetical. As the race settles in, we're going to look to see he's going to have a little bit of company with Hypothetical, Leon's Legacy. Looks like this race might have a little bit of early speed up front, but I would expect that at 5.5 furlongs. And as they start to tire, coming down the stretch they come, boy, that Najim better really have a lot of a lead, because it looks like his legs will really get weary, along with Snapper and Fine Dame. Do Ya Punk? That one's going to be coming the strongest. Do you have Do Ya Punk in your picks, Tom?
No, I do not.
Maybe you should.
But I did start out with number 6, Taunting. It's my top choice. First start of the season was a second in a BM78 race at Monomy Valley. This is a very lightly raced horse. It's a 4-year-old. It has 9 starts, 4 wins, and 3 placings. And at this distance, it's got 4 starts, 3 wins, and a placing. It's a mid-pack type, so it could be sitting 6, 7, somewhere in there. And that's how it got second last time. And I think it's a little bit of a class jump for it, but really not big. And I think it's in form, and it's going to win this race. My next choice is going to be number 14, Hypothetical. Another one that's very lightly raced. This is a 4-year-old mare who's got 4 starts and 3 wins and a placing. She raced a G-Long last time out in a BM64 type race, sat 4th, and came on to win. She's won on all kinds of going so far, not heavy, but she's won on good and soft. And yep, she's taking a class rise, but I think with her form, it seems to make sense to put her in here. And finally, I'm going to take number 3 for Joyful. I think Joyful Fortune has no chance today, Thomas, because it's scratched. Oh, it's scratched?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It just came out with the scratches a little bit before we came up. So, yeah.
And I missed that one. And I'm not surprised it scratched, because it won a listed race last time out. And it ran in the Everest. So I think it probably is they're looking for a little more dollar-wise race.
Well, it's hard to compete with that Everest. I mean, it's the most expensive race in the world for that distance. So, yeah. With all the scratches, I landed the same place you did with my first pick, Tom. That's Taunting. It's probably going to end up being your favorite right now, about 4-1. So 4-1 favorite's not that bad. Mm-mm. Again, I'm looking for horses that are on the improve, horses that do like the distance at least. Taunting hasn't been the biggest fan of a good. It looks like he really prefers the soft footing. But at the distance, 3 times, 2 wins, and a third. In the 2 times it did get a good footing, the horse did have a second in there. So we'll see if maybe it can improve on that good footing. I do think that speed horse, in these 5.5 furlongs, I don't know how much important it is to have a lot of late kick. You just get up to that front, hold on. Again, a horse that's on the improve. I like the fact that its times look like they're getting a little bit quicker. And the horse really made up a lot of ground, showed a lot more endurance in its last race, going from 5th to going wire to wire at 7-1. That was the morning line. Now it's looks like it's about 6-1. So taking a little bit of money for Najim. Hopefully gets to the front and can stay there. Much like you, Tom, I like hypothetical in my picks as well. That is my third choice. 11-1 on hypothetical. It was what is number 14, right? I'm like looking at number 11, like 79-1. We don't want that. All right, so this horse is making its second start off a layoff. And you look at its career, 4 races, 3 wins, and a second. So the horse has not really done anything wrong. The one time it did make it 2 races in a row, it did win that second race. And in that second race also showed some improvement in terms of its fraction. So maybe we can see that horse do that again. And finally, my last pick of this.
And it's also 2 for 2 at this distance.
So, yeah, it likes the distance as well. You got to appreciate that. And finally, number 7, Linus's Legend, I guess. Linus Legend. People get mad at me if I make things possessive. I've gotten a little bit of crap from folks for calling it Rich's Strike instead of Rich Strike. So, Linus Legend. I don't want to get in any trouble. Another one making its second start off the break. Done it 3 times, has a win and a third. 24-1. I think is really more a reflection of that. A lot of the other horses in here, I honestly had a hard time finding a 4th pick because I felt like the top 3 were just a little bit of cut ahead of everybody else. Then everybody else was just kind of like bunched up. And because of that, I felt like 7 with its history in the second up might be having a good shot for that horse to improve. Looks like it's improving on the track to me as well. And I'm always looking for horses that are on the upswing. It's one of the things that I focus on in my handicapping. How about you, Tom?
I prefer them going forward rather than going backwards.
Quick question for you, Thomas. How much would you wager on Dreamloper tomorrow to win, place, or show? Also, Blue Stripe, how would you bet that horse tomorrow?
With Dreamloper, I'm just going to put 20 and 40. So 20 to win and 40 to place. And with right now with Blue Stripe, I've got it for second. So I probably will use it in some combinations, but not for a win.
I will note that when we had on the players, not the players, it's a Horse Center, we had on Kurt Becker, the track announcer for Keeneland. He did tell us that he was on an elevator with somebody, I don't remember who, and that when they were talking about the horses and how they're performing at the track, getting ready, the horse that everybody was buzzing about was Blue Stripe. So apparently it looks fantastic on the track. I look fantastic on the golf range, but when I get out on the golf course, it's a whole different story. So hopefully Blue Stripe can take it from the golf range to the golf course. You could take yourself over to Picks with the Professor if you like baseball, college football, or college basketball. Tonight there are some college football games. There is a link down below. So if you're into that, go ahead and check out the Professor. Watch his show. When you're in there, comment. Let him know what you think. Ask him questions. We've done a whole lot of work this week for the Breeders' Cup right here on Horse Racing Radar TV. Make sure you check out those videos. You probably want to watch the one with Kylie Jordan. She's making her first. It's amazing. You'll talk about a meteoric ride. This girl a year and a half ago wasn't even riding horses. And then she got on a horse, and a year and a half later, she's riding in the Breeders' Cup. Maybe the best story, Tyler's Tribe. Hopefully she does well. Of course, we covered every single race. And for those of you interested in the international angle, we got to give Tom a great round of applause because he did a ton of work on all the international entries. And you can find that over on Horse Racing Radar too. All right, Tom, tomorrow, keep an eye on our social media sites. I'm telling you, there's an announcement coming. We'll be doing something tomorrow for the Breeders' Cup. You're going to want to watch that for sure. But in order to find out when it's going to happen, you either have to hit the subscribe button here on YouTube or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Horse Race Today. Hit that bell. If you like what you see, kindly thumbs up to help us with the algorithms. All right, Tom, you're about to go back to your Breeders' Cup racing. Any final thoughts before we get out of here today?
Yeah, race 4 is loading right up. They're about ready to go. And I have found that from the computer watching it on there to the TV, it's about a 90-second delay. So people will keep in mind that, because you may try to put a bet in and you can't. So, and I've had this happen to me before. And it does happen a little more frequently down like in Australia and Hong Kong. So just as a word of warning, if you are watching on FanDuel or one of those, there's a little bit of a delay there going on.
Yes, make sure. Well, they're off in the first breeder. I think this is the first. No, this is an optional claiming race. The next
it's optional claiming. This is the 2-year-old.
Yeah, I think the next one up is the first of the Breeders' Cup.
There's a huge favorite here. The 9.
The 9 horse
up at 3 to 5.
Let's see, the 9 horse at 3 to 5. Yeah, he was 7 to 2 morning line. The Arabian Lion with Irad Ortiz.
Baffert.
Well, let's see, how's he doing right now, real quick. Well, he's in second, but he is ranging up on this 7 horse. But he does look like he's going to have plenty of competition, maybe from the 2, because the 2 got the rail. I think the 2 is going to beat him, Tom.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think the 2 is going to go backwards.
Let's see. Down the stretch they come. It's the 9 and the 2. I don't know, man. That 2's hanging tough, and I think the 2 is going to get him. At 6 to 1. Yep. Unless he finds the 2 is starting to pull away a little bit, so it looks like it's going to go.
Yeah, 2 9 hung on the turn, so that could be
2 9 and wow, big to 10 2 9 10. So, all right, folks. Well, that's that race there with those 2-year-olds over there. Good luck with the rest of your picks today at the Breeders' Cup. And hopefully tonight, when you are when you have a little bit of insomnia because you're all wired out from the Breeders' Cup, you can get some nice winners at Australia. And we hope Australia, Kentucky, no matter what you do, they end up in
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Again, keep an eye on the social media sites. There's an announcement coming.